So a few months ago, I received an email that made me quite literally jump out of my office chair with joy. I might get to speak on stage at FinCon. Woo! I was so excited, my brain is like flooded with dopamine, and I'm having delusions of grandeur. I'm like, this is gonna be awesome. I'm gonna look awesome. This is gonna be like a TED Talk and presidential address, and I am gonna get up there on that stage, and I'm gonna tell the perfect story about overcoming hardships and how I have found success in business and how I'm an influencer. So, I sit back in my office chair and I start taking some notes. First story. In 2020, I started a YouTube channel. I actually put down my podcast of 3 years, and I thought I'd be pretty good at it. But really, people were saying like, this might be an opportunity, right? YouTube's the big thing. So I started and I worked really hard at it and I grew for a while, but I kind of got burnt out. And if I'm being honest with you, my YouTube growth kind of looks like this. Like it's 18 months straight of solid decline, not the happy ending story. So I'm journaling and I move on to the next one. Next year, 2021, I decide I need to make a little bit of money from this business. It's time to try a new product offer, a high ticket offer. Cost a bunch of money. I spend months developing it and I talk about it to everybody and I launch it with like 20 emails to my email list of like 8,000, 9,000 people, but I get one sale. And I feel like a failure, and I kind of want to disappear from online business in general, but that next weekend I'm scheduled to show up at FinCon 2021, last year, chatting with old friends and new friends alike, and I am miserable. Everybody else seems to have their act together. They seem energized and motivated to talk about their business and learn and grow and do all the things, but I feel none of that. So for the past couple of months and weeks, I have been miserable trying to figure out like, what is this perfect talk to put up there on stage at FinCon? The problem is, I haven't lived that perfect story. So I've been super stressed. Up until last week. Last Tuesday, I'm sitting back in my office chair journaling. It's 6 a.m. because I literally can't sleep trying to figure out this perfect story to say on the FinCon stage, and that's when it hits me. I'm kind of doing it again. Just like why I chose to start the YouTube channel and why I chose to try out the high ticket offer launch, I'm trying to make this FinCon talk fit into some perfect box. It's got to be the Hollywood happy ending perfect story. But it's not serving me. In fact, it's stressing me out. It's giving me lots of anxiety. So, I found my message. Maybe I will never be an influencer. Maybe, just maybe, I never ever have that Hollywood happy ending perfect business success story. But maybe that doesn't mean that I am a failure. Maybe it's okay. In fact, not only is it okay, maybe it's actually smart that we set out to run our lives and our work and our business with intention, doing things that serve us. Thank you.
I started my business in 2008 to learn how to pay off debt, teach people how to save on their grocery bills, and stay at home with my kids. I was a mom of 2 at that time. And then fast forward 5 years later, I'm now a mom of 4. I'm making more money than I've ever made in my life per month. I have an office building and 4 full-time employees. I retired my husband from corporate America. I wrote a best-selling book. I was on TV every single month on the Today Show, Good Morning America, Rachael Ray, Dr. Oz. I was doing all of the things right. I was chasing this dream of what I thought would make me happy. More money, more success, more fame. While my kids are now at home full-time with a nanny. You see, I started my website to stay home with my kids, and then I got so caught up in all of the things that I was chasing by joining as a part of a community, as an online creator. And now I felt like I had created a prison around myself. A prison that I had created, and I was miserable. That year, I actually spoke at FinCon with my husband, who shortly became my ex-husband a couple months after. I started having to really redefine what success meant to me. You see, I started this with 2 kids and a husband, and then I had 4 kids, and I was going through a really difficult divorce. And he was a very public part of my business. And so I quit working for 2 years. Didn't do anything. During my divorce, I had to relearn how to be a single mom. I had to relearn everything. And thanks to the business that I had created, I was able to not work for 2 years. And my website continued to make me money and pay all my bills and even have some fun. Once I came back to work at that 2-year mark, I had to really redefine what my happiness was. I was a single mom, still am a single mom of 4 kids, and I had to learn what made me happy again. So these are the things that I did. I work 20 hours a week now. I take summers off. Don't work at all in the summer, I stay home with my kids. I bought a boat and an RV and kayaks, and I travel, and I have amazing friends. And I started realizing that I get to choose what success looks like to me. I don't have to chase anymore the things and popularity of being a huge social media influencer. I only do televisions that pay me, television shows that pay me now. In fact, I'm taping with Rachael Ray on Wednesday. And I get to define that success. So at the beginning of this conference, I want to remind you that this business can provide you anything, but you get to define what that success is. So I wanted to remind you of that, and all of us on this stage, that it is important to figure out why you started this in the first place. So now, even as a single mom, I get to thrive. I get to stay at home with my kids when I have them. I get to take summers off. And it's all because of this dream of being in this personal finance community. So thank you for letting me share my story today.
So this is my 6th in-person FinCon. The first 4 that I attended, I sat in these chairs just like you, I wandered these halls just like you, and I was struggling. Struggling in silence, with alcohol, with confidence, with life. So I would see people, and they'd ask how I was doing, and I would say, fine. I would win awards, all of these people telling me all of the positive things about me, and I didn't believe those things about myself for those first 4 years that I came to FinCon. But then last year, things started to change because I finally started to prioritize me. So what did that look like? A year ago yesterday, I took a mental health leave from my day job for 3 months that changed everything. And when I took that mental health leave, I thought I was taking that leave because I hated work, and work was getting out of my day job was the answer to all my problems. So that was step 1. And then that mental health leave ultimately became a leave from everything else. Podcasting, YouTube videos, social media, and I would come back here and there, but for the most part, I would drop off. And then while I was on this mental health leave, I learned information that if I had not learned this, if I had not created this space for myself, I probably wouldn't be up on this stage today telling you this story. Because 2 weeks into that mental health leave, I learned that I've had complex PTSD for most of my life. And so for all of this time that I've been showing up at this conference, well, until really this year, the years past where I've been struggling and worrying about what's going on with me, it was because I lived with something most of my life and focused so much on everybody else, sponsors, the audience, what are people gonna think about me, that I never truly prioritized myself. I said that I did. I told other people to prioritize themselves, but I never truly did that for me. And so once I learned that, I was able to begin the healing journey to be able to get to a place where I could be on a stage like this and so confidently tell you my story. And so I noticed some other things started to happen as I was out. The downloads went down. The social media follows went away. A lot of the partners and folks that I thought were my peoples, once they realized I was going through a bit of a pivot, they kind of dipped away as well. But that was okay because I noticed that the quality of my life was going up. I was feeling more of a sense of freedom, more of a sense of peace. I was doing things specifically for me. And so even though those numbers were going down, that's never why I got into this. I got into this to help people, just like everyone else who's in this audience today. And as Andy mentioned, yeah, I've been doing track and field. That was part of the journey as well. So full context, quit alcohol July 1st, 2020. First cycle broken. July 1st, 2021, I got back into track and field after 15 years off. I never thought I would do that again, ever. And then just a couple of months ago, something else I never thought I would do, I became a national champion in the triple jump in just 12 months for my age group after not training for 15 years. And I'm telling you right now that if I instead leave my job, if I don't create that space for myself and instead I choose to do more and create more mayhem, I don't get to a place where I can pursue this major life goal, something that I've thought about nearly every day, but didn't think that I would do because of where I was in the cycle of alcohol, addiction, low self-esteem, everything that plagued me for a number of years. And so I encourage you, when you're here, yes, there are probably people sitting next to you too who felt like I felt, people who are suffering in silence, just like Patrice said. And so I encourage you to make sure that you give yourself space and you truly prioritize you. Yes, your audience is important, but you are important first. You've heard the saying about putting on your oxygen mask, and I think it's a lot deeper than that. Because I spent so much time worrying about everyone else that I let myself get burnt, essentially crumble to the ground, and end up in a place where I was having panic attacks, and I had to ultimately take a mental health leave. So I encourage y'all, create space for yourself. Ask yourself, how is this serving you, just as this session is named? Because when you do that, I promise you, when you focus on yourself first, all of the other stuff is gonna work out. And yeah, it may take a little bit of time. For self, I feel like I'm starting from scratch in some ways, but I'm here with my people, and I'm the best that I've ever been. Thank you. So we're gonna do a little bit of Q&A with each other because we all had questions as we were listening to each other's talks. So Lauren,
yes.
Talk about how it felt then when you were going through it to where you are now and just what that's like.
Yeah, for me, to be honest, I felt very ashamed when I took a break because I was very well known in this community. I was very, very well known on television, and I felt like a failure, you know, not because I wasn't making money, but because I had failed myself. And I was very embarrassed. Now I am proud to talk about that experience, and I'm proud to talk about the hard stuff that I went through because I think it's authentic. And if we can't be authentic with each other here, then what can, you know, where can we do it? So I'm feeling very much at peace right now. So yeah.
I have a question about how do we make sure it doesn't happen again? Mm-hmm. So you took time off and now you're back. You're literally on the main stage. Is there anything you do, this could be like routines or just the way you approach your business to make sure it doesn't, you know, encroach on your life the way you don't want it to?
Yeah, I think that there's a very awesome theme today, which is being authentic and integrity. So I don't align myself with companies that I don't agree with. I also really am very strict with my schedule as far as not working more than 20 hours a week. I have a full team that does most of my stuff for me, and I don't do things that don't make me money anymore. So if I'm not making money doing it, then I'm not gonna do it. I will tell you this too, is that I had to keep myself from having this career be my identity, okay? So for many years, I was Lauren Greutman. Now, it says Lauren Cobello up on stage because the past month I've finally rebranded to my actual name, which is Lauren Cobello. Thank you, that was hard. I was afraid of losing SEO and all that kind of stuff, but for me, I got another job outside of the house. I bartend 2 nights a week, and it's the most fun I've ever had in my life. So I took myself out of being Lauren, like I'm Lauren. No, I am a person who does this. And now I bartend, and I have an absolute blast, awesome. And that's like play money.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, I ask you now, right?
Go to
Or
Pete.
Pete? Okay, I'm asking you, Pete.
I'm an open book.
So one of the things that I actually had a question for you about was, like, you didn't talk to anybody last year about how you felt while you were here. And I'm sure there's people out here that might be feeling like a failure and like they're hiding stuff. What do you recommend that they do so they don't leave FinCon feeling the way that you did?
I think that's a great question. And by the way, the number one word that came to my mind of why I didn't necessarily open up about that is fear. Mm-hmm. No one likes to be seen as a failure. I definitely don't. It's like my worst nightmare, right? Pete started a business. Pete looked like he was doing well on the outside, but inside, oh, he's actually a massive failure. It's fear, right? And I think my one suggestion to literally anybody who can hear my voice is that you're not alone. I was not alone. I know that now. At the time, never crossed into my head. You're not alone. People are up here on stage. They're, mega bajillionaires in the FinCon audience. They have fears too. We all are suffering from something at some point, and I think it's just crucial we have to remember that.
Now, a big part of it too is you got to get to acceptance, like once you realize this isn't the life I want or this is the life I want. So how did you get to acceptance?
I don't know, but I'll let you know if it ever happens. Right? I think part of what I wanted to say with my little spiel earlier is that sometimes it's never a black and white thing. It's never a finish line where now I've made it. Now I have the perfect work-life balance or whatever that is. It's a continuous work in progress. So this is totally a non-answer to your question, but I think it's important to check in with myself every single week. How can I be more accepting of who I am this week? What do I need to do? Literally, who do I need to be each and every week and each and every month? Sometimes that's meditating or journaling or masterminds or just having friends or whatever that is. It's it's an ongoing process, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. So let's actually turn the tables really quick, ask about Rich. I want to talk about permission. So you mentioned downloads going down or views going down or traffic going down. And in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, red flags. How did you give yourself the permission to stop or at least to set it down and try different things and do different things?
One, at my day job, I saw my manager take a mental health leave. And so I remember saying, if they can do it, then I can do it. If they're creating space for themselves, I can create space for myself. And the thing that I would learn later, as I was having those panic attacks before I went on leave, is I knew how I didn't want to feel. And so that was really key for me saying, okay, if I don't want to feel this way, I've got to have these boundaries. I've got to not do certain things. I've got to take these steps. I can't just say that I want to feel and be a certain way, but not actually take actions to move me in that direction. And so permission for me, seeing someone else do it, but then also saying I'm not happy with where I am right now and nothing is going to change. I've been running in circles for 38 years, so something different needs to happen. And I think it's time for me to finally give myself permission, and that's kind of what's led to everything today.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I had to do a similar thing, give myself permission to take that time off. What showed you that you were ready to come back?
How calmly I'm able to talk about my experience. It's hard to explain, but where I was even a year ago and just where I am today, the amount of healing that I've done, the amount of processing that I've done, I feel the most authentic that I've probably felt in the 6+ years that I've been in this community. And I feel now that I've been through this experience where I had to take a leave and I felt the mental health impact, and I know how many people are probably sitting in here, particularly people who look like me, who are going through similar things, walking around with conditions, and don't know that if they addressed that core thing that was going on within them, that would unlock a world of opportunity. Yeah. So that's been really big.
Yeah.
So.
I didn't have anything else. I think we're actually going to leave you guys with just one or two, or actually three, not just one or two. Three little short takeaways to walk out of this room with.
And mine is create space. It sounds really basic, but I mean that in a lot of contexts, not just when it comes to creating content, but it is okay to create space. It is okay to step away. The people who really support you will be there. And your health first and foremost above everything. So create that space. It absolutely changed my life.
And my takeaway is that you get to decide what success looks like for you. There are so many ways to make money in this industry, from TikTok and Instagram stories. I mean, my mind and our minds are constantly showing us that there's more to do. But what if it's okay with what you're doing right now? What if that's okay? What if you don't have to chase building a 7-figure business? What if you stop chasing and be okay with where you're at right now?
I'm gonna do mine again. You do not have to be a full-time entrepreneur. You are not a failure. If you are not a full-time entrepreneur, it is okay to have a day job. And I say that because I know so many people who feel like they're not doing well because they are still working, and that ish is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Preach. Preach. I'm over here like,
Preach it.
hey, you just stole all the thoughts out of my head. My last takeaway is, it is okay to talk with other people, literally here at FinCon, about whatever it is you're going through.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to hit all of you right now, but maybe some of you. If there's any place in the entire world where there is like this many people in a physical space that understand what you do, well, that's it. It's here. It's nowhere else. And so, yeah, you might have to like tap somebody on the shoulder or interrupt a conversation or butt into a conversation or whatever, but I can assure you, almost everybody understands. Talk to somebody if you need to and if you want to. Doesn't hit everybody, but it is okay and encouraged in this space at FinCon. It's the best place in the world to do it.
Yep. So thank you for letting us share our stories.
Thank you.
Awesome. Let's give them a hand. Okay, we're up here for real this time.